Oscorp. Nothing would please.
Welcome back to Recap IT. Today we are going to recap 2002 action hero movie titled Spider-Man. Peter Parker's life changes when he is bitten by a genetically altered spider and gains superpowers. He uses his powers to help people and finds himself facing the Green Goblin, an evil maniac. But before we begin, please consider subscribing to this channel. Now without wasting any further time, let's begin, shall we? Peter Parker is a nerdy New York City high school student. He lives with his Uncle Ben and Aunt May after his parents died. He has a crush on Mary Jane Watson, his next-door neighbor and one of the few classmates who is friendly to him. Flash, her boyfriend, and his pals pick on him. Peter's only buddy is Harry Osborn, who, while being affluent and gorgeous, is also an outcast. Harry, on the other hand, is resentful of Norman's devotion for Peter. Norman, the CEO of weapons contractor Oscorp, admires Peter's scientific abilities and can't help but wish Peter was his own kid. A Columbia University genetics laboratory is visited by a science class. The lab focuses on spiders, and through genetic manipulation and cross-pollination, it has even managed to generate new spider species. One of these new spiders lands on Peter's hand and bites him while he is photographing Mary Jane for the school newspaper. Peter comes home sick and goes to bed right away, but the venom injected by the spider bite begins to perform bizarre magic on him at the genetic level. Meanwhile, General Slocum pays a visit to Oscorp to examine how their new super soldier formula is working. General Slocum threatens to pull all military funding from Oscorp after one of Norman's best scientists, Dr. Strom, warns him that the formula is unstable. Norman exposes himself to the chemical later that night, obtaining superhuman strength and agility but also turning mad. Dr. Strom is killed, and two more Oscorp creations, an exoskeleton and a jet glider, are stolen. The next morning, feeling better than ever, he discovers that his slender frame has gained muscle and that his school vision is faultless. He shows off his ability to shoot webs from spinnerets in his wrists by fighting an irate Flash in a fistfight the day he discovers it. He and Mary Jane flirt across the fence separating their backyards that night. He gets dressed and goes to the arena, telling Ben and May he's going to the library van. Ben and May are concerned about Peter's personality changes and insist on taking him to the library. He makes an attempt to express his and May's worries. He advises Peter to avoid getting into any further conflicts. He may have the ability to defeat the world's Flash Thompsons, but with tremendous power comes great responsibility. The responsibility of knowing when and how to use that authority effectively. Peter has a negative reaction. Ben informs Ben that he is not Peter's father and that he should not act as such. Peter not only survives the wrestling fight, but he also defeats Bonesaw in 2 minutes, but the promoter only awards him $100. Peter is enraged and runs down and beats the robber, who then falls out of a window and is found by the police. Ben's advice to harness his spider abilities for the greater good inspires him. As the Fantastic Spider-Man, a name he adopts from the announcer of the wrestling event, he makes a new suit and swings around New York foiling minor crimes and muggings. This does not make him popular with New York's top muckraking tabloid, The Bugle, is edited and published by Jonah Jameson. When he finds that Spider-Man sells newspapers, he sends out a request for better front-page images to photographers. After graduating from high school, Peter, Harry, and Mary Jane relocate to Manhattan. Peter and Harry share an apartment and attend Empire State University. Mary Jane is a waitress who is having trouble getting acting auditions. She and Harry begin to see each other as well. Harry apologizes to Peter, but explains that Peter has always been too hesitant to make a move. Peter is having difficulty finding work. Norman offers to assist him in his search, but Peter's desire to forge his own path in life is respected. Peter notices Jameson's ad for good Spider-Man shots and, by securing his camera in strategic locations, captures fantastic images of his own heroic exploits. Despite the low pay, Jameson agrees to purchase more of Peter's photographs. Norman is also relieved that Quest will have to reorganize following the tragedy that claimed Slocum's life. At Oscorp's annual Unity Day street fair, he attacks and kills the board of directors as the Goblin. Assault also puts others in danger. Mary Jane's Spider-Man defeats the Goblin and saves Mary Jane when she is about to die. Mary Jane finds herself attracted to Spider-Man. This feeling is greatly strengthened when, a few days later, he protects her from some rapists on a wet night, and she thanks him with a deep kiss. He doesn't tell her he's Peter. He decides that he and Spider-Man should work together. He attacks the Bugle office in order to lure Spider-Man into a trap, subduing him with knockout gas, and then giving him a few days to consider his offer of cooperation. He cautions Spider-Man that the city would turn against him soon, and that they should control it together. The Goblin sets fire to an apartment building a few days later, on Thanksgiving, in order to extract a response from Spider-Man. Spider-Man gets a nasty cut on his arm as a result of his refusal to join the Goblins in their fight. When Norman, Peter the Goblin, and Spider-Man are all scheduled to return to the loft for Thanksgiving dinner, Peter appears with new blood from a cut on his sleeve. Norman instantly realizes that Peter is Spider-Man and flees. Harry did not defend her that night, Mary Jane informs her. While visiting Aunt May, Goblin attacks her at home and sends her to the hospital. Mary Jane tells Peter about her crush for Spider-Man, and the two share an intimate moment. This catches Harry's attention, and he realizes that his relationship with Mary Jane is ended. Goblin kidnaps Mary Jane and then sabotages a trolley car as it passes under the Roosevelt Bridge. Spider-Man is able to save both of them. Instead, he seizes Spider-Man and tosses him inside a derelict building. The Goblin defeats Spider-Man, even launching a pumpkin bomb directly at his face, severely destroying the mask and injuring him. When the Goblin is poised to slay Spider-Man with dual blades, he makes the mistake of threatening Mary Jane. Enraged, Spider-Man knocks the Goblin senseless, eventually overwhelming him, but comes to a halt when the Goblin reveals himself to be Norman. Norman shocks Peter by revealing that he is the Goblin. Norman then tries to persuade Peter that his entire life has been influenced by the Goblin persona. The Goblin's body is laid to rest at the funeral. Behind Spider-Man, a jet glider appears, and the Goblin persona takes over. The Goblin tries to murder Spider-Man with his jet glider, but he leaps out of the way just in time. Norman requests Peter not to tell Harry about the Green Goblin as he dies. Norman's body is returned to Spider-Penthouse Man's apartment. When Harry sees them, he accuses Spider-Man of killing Norman. He swears vengeance and expresses gratitude to Peter for being such a wonderful friend. Peter pays his respects to Uncle Ben's tomb. Mary Jane comes across him and declares her love for him. She kisses him passionately and compassionately. Peter wishes he could tell her the truth, but he is unable to do so. Instead, he informs her that he can only ever be her buddy. Mary Jane has a sneaking suspicion that she has kissed him before, but Peter knows both his blessing and his misfortune in life. Who am I, exactly? I'm Spider-Man, and I'm here to help you. And this is where the movie comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed it, as always until next time.